Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. Look, I know it's been a while. Like the last time I did a video was like last month, bro. And yeah, so in case you guys haven't seen, this is the monthly results, or this is the monthly performance, or this is the dashboard of this month. And as you can see, this month we ended the week, or we ended this month with $744, $293 this week alone. And you guys already know we started this account with $200. Right now we're over $1,000 in P&L. All right. So this video is just me gonna explain the strategy that I've been using to have this constant wins. So far, we've only had 4 losing days and the remaining were all green. So the strategy that I am using is the BRC strategy, which I literally explain to you guys over and over again in every video I make. But I'm still gonna keep explaining the strategy for you guys to really understand how I trade and the strategy I use. So all you're doing is waiting for the 9:30 market to open. 9:30 candle. 9:30 because that is when the market opens. So we're on the 5 minute time frame waiting for the first 5 minute candle to open. Right? Wait for the first 5 minute candle. After that, you mark out your high and you mark out your low. After that, you're still on the 5 minute time frame. You are waiting for a 5 minute break. And I'm not just talking about a break, a 5 minute break that closes below the range. So after that 5 minute break, we're looking for a retracement into that range. After finding the retracement, you're going to go to the 1 minute time frame, and that is where you look for your entry. So your entry is basically a bearish move to the direction in which you're going to trade into. So here we had a break, retest. You're going to the 1 minute time frame to look for a bearish 1 minute candle closure out of this range. And then after seeing that, you're going to enter your sell position right there. Your stop loss is going to be at the retracement high, not this candle's high. Instead, the candle that retraced, you're going to put the stop loss at the high of that candle. And then you're only going to look for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. This is a bearish trade. Remember, first 5 minute candle of the market open, which is at 9:30. Mark out the high, mark out the low. All you're waiting for is a break, which you can see a 5 minute break and a 5 minute retest. After that, go to the 1 minute time frame and look for a 1 minute candle closure above the range in your direction. And then you look for a buy position, you're into your long position right there. Stop loss at the retracement. Remember, stop loss at the retracement, and you're only going to look for a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. And that's basically all you're doing. Now, let's go straight into the chart, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I've been talking about. All right. So this was the trade I took on Friday. As you can see, like I said, first 5 minute candle. I'm using NQ, by the way. First 5 minute candle, mark out the high, mark out the low, wait for a break, which you can see here. We have a 5 minute break closure, body closure above this range. Then we're going to wait for a retest. Here, as you can see, we already had a retest, and I waited for this 5 minute candle to close. Entered right there. Stop loss at the retracement, which was right here. And then I went for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Notice how mechanical this strategy is. As soon as a TP hit, price it was just to reverse. Same thing. Mark out the high, mark out the low. We had a retracement. And now, the reason why I didn't take this trade was because we had an S&T with ES. NQ took out this low, but ES didn't take out this low. Basically it. Even if we draw it all the way here, you can see Nasdaq, on the other hand, we took out these lows, but S&P 500 didn't take out its lows. So at this point, I already knew we were just going to have a trade to the upside. So that's why I didn't take this break retest. And you can see it would have been a loss if we took this trade. So all I did was wait till we had a break and retest to the upside. So just in case you guys might ask why I didn't take the sell trade to the downside, it was because we had an S&T here, and here we have our break, we have our retest, 5 minute retest, going to the 1 minute time frame, which you can see right there. I had a bullish candle here on the 1 minute time frame after the retest, bullish candle right there. Stop loss is going to be at the retest, and then all I'm doing is targeting a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Simple as that. I'm going to keep on showing you guys more and more and more. Right here, the reason why I ended up closing right here was because we had S&Ts building up here on Nasdaq and ES 500. SMT is basically when, and especially NQ and ES, because those are correlative pairs, right? NQ, on the other hand, doesn't take out this low, but ES take out this low. That means there's an SMT to the upside. So when we see that building up, we know that price is most likely to go to the upside. So yeah, let me just explain this trade. Now, this is a bearish fair value gap example. We have the 930 high, 930 low. We had a 5-minute break. Now, we didn't have the retest on this range. Instead, we created a fair value gap here. We tapped into this fair value gap here, as you can see. Then after that tap, we'll go to the 1-minute time frame after the 5-minute candle closes. And then wait for a 1-minute bearish candle. Take a sell trade right there. Remember, stop loss has to be at the end of the fair value gap. And then all I'm looking for is a 1 to 2 risk reward. And the way down, Nasdaq and S&P were just creating SMTs. S&P 500 were just going all the way down while Nasdaq was just doing this. So I felt like Nasdaq didn't want to really go to the downside. So I just decided to close out right here for a 1-to-1 risk reward. And I actually set it out on my Discord channel. So if you guys really want to join the Discord channel where I trade, where I show my trades, the Discord link is in the description below. If you guys also are finding it hard to trade this manually, the break retest conviction indicator is out. The link is in the description in the Discord channel. So if you guys find it hard to really understand the strategy, just use the indicator instead of doing everything manually. So it's going to draw it out for you. So even if I have this deleted, it's going to draw it out for you. Your high, your low, your break and retest, tells you when to go to the 1-minute time frame, all this type of stuff. So yeah, we have go to the 5-minute time frame. Remember, we will start the day on the 5-minute time frame, right? So we have a 5-minute high, 5-minute low. Now we do have a break here, but notice we didn't have a body closure under this range. Instead, we have to wait for a full body closure above this range and a retest, which we have here. Candle closure above, had a 5-minute retest, going to the 1-minute time frame to look for a bullish candle out of that range, which you can see here. Bullish candle out of that range. Stop loss at the retest, and then all I'm doing is going for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Look, I can go on and on. So, but just remember, this strategy is not a 100% win rate strategy. Sometimes we can have losses too, which you can see here. We had a loss here. We had a break, retest. Price went in our direction, but we didn't have enough volume to keep pushing to the upside, and we ended up falling short. But even though price ended up going in another direction later on, right there was just not the time. So here again, we have, notice how we have a break here, but the retest got into the midpoint. So I'm looking for a new break. Here we have a break, but we didn't have a body closure here. Now we started rejecting off of this level. And notice how we finally had a 5-minute break above this level here. 5-minute break, 5-minute retest. All I'm doing is going to the 1-minute time frame to see if we have a bullish candle. So here, after that retest, we had a bullish candle above this range. Took my buy trade right there, stop loss at the retest, and then going for a 1 to 2 risk reward. Look, I can go on and on and on explaining this strategy for y'all to really understand. Here, we had a break. Now we've tapped into this fair value gap here, but we went down and then ended up getting stopped out. But sometimes we take losses. But remember, even if you have 2 losses, 1 win is going to cover up for all those 2 losses. That's why we use your 1 to 2 risk reward. So I can have a loss here, and I can have another loss here. But this 1 win is going to cover up for all these 2 losses. That's risk management for you. So let's get into this example again. Mark out 930 high and 930 low on the 5-minute time frame. Wait for a break, which you can see we had a break. We had a retest. Notice how we had a fair value gap here, but we had no reaction off of this fair value gap. Instead, we just dived into the range. After having this range, we tap into this range. All I'm doing is going to the 1-minute time frame and waiting for a bearish move to the downside. Right here, we ended up going higher and then finally had a bearish move to the downside. Taking my sell position right there. Stop loss at this high because it was a retest high, then going for a 1 to 2. We went all the way down, went back up, went back into the range, and then ended up hitting TP once more. Right here, we had a loss. But remember, after this loss, this win covered up for this loss, adding extra profit on top. So here, we had a 5-minute break. Here we had a 5-minute break, 5-minute retest. going to the 1 minute time frame. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can for you guys. Some traders will just show you all their wins and not their losses. So here we had a 5 minute break, 5 minute retest. We had a candle closure above this level showing us we have bullish momentum. Took in my buy trade right there, stop loss at the low, and then went for it 1 to 2. But we ended up falling short and ended up stopping us out. Even though price later on went in our direction. But it's cool. We take losses sometimes and we take wins sometimes. 5 minute high, 5 minute low on the 930 high, 930 low on the first 5 minute candle. We have this huge break. We might have fair value gaps up and fair value gaps up and fair value gaps. The only fair value gap we are looking at or focusing on is the one closest to the range, not this one. So in case you had a retracement and price didn't tap into the range, we can use this fair value gap, not this fair value gap. So even if we do have a reaction off of this fair value gap, we do not care. Let price do its thing. We are only focusing on the fair value gap that is the closest to the range, just in case the range doesn't get tapped into. But here, tapped into this range, going to the 1 minute time frame after the retest. What we're going to look for is a bullish candle, which you can see right here. Very strong bullish candle. Stop loss at the retest low, and then going for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Bro, I don't know. You guys by now should have understood this strategy, bro. Like, you guys really should have understood this strategy. Have a 5 minute now. Look good. Finally, you're finally seen it. We have a 5 minute break below this level. We had a retest, but look, if we use the indicator that I've provided, you guys are gonna see that the midpoint is giving us an alert that the midpoint has been hit. So we have to wait for a new break. That is how I created this indicator. When we tap into the midpoint of the range, we have to look for a new break and retest because I feel like we've gone way too deep into this range. So we just have to look for a clean break and retest. That's it. So if you have a retest and it's inside or taps into this midpoint, we have to just wait for a new break and retest, new 5 minute break and retest. So here we're going to ignore this and we're going to wait for a break and a retest, which you can see right here. After that retest, I'm going to the 1 minute time frame. After that 5 minute retest, I'm looking for a 1 minute bearish candle closure below the range. You can see, took my sell trade right there. Stop loss at the retest high, and I'm going for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Bro, it is what it is, man. That's basically the strategy. Look, this was a clean fair value gap trade. We have our 5 minute 930 high, 930 low. We had a break, retest, we tap into the midpoint, which you can see right here. We tapped into the midpoint. So we're looking for a new break and retest. And here we had this break. We had a fair value gap here. We tapped into this fair value gap, going to the 1 minute time frame. After that, tap into the fair value gap. And then I'm looking for a bearish candle right there. Look at this bearish candle right there. Stop loss, not at the retest high, instead at the fair value gaps high. And then I'm going for a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Okay, right here we took a loss. And yeah, I regretted taking this loss. Something I didn't say to you guys, but I know I must have said in previous videos. The range is from 9:30 to 12 p.m. 9:30 to 12 p.m. is the range. That is your window. So here I feel like I shouldn't have traded because we're already getting to 12 p.m. and I wouldn't say it was a very clean break and retest, in my opinion, because right here we're consolidating all through, and then at an 11:45 we had a break and we had a retest. So I feel like I shouldn't have still taken the trade because after 12 p.m. is when everything starts running down. But yeah, so we ended up taking this loss. That was May 11, which was right here. Yeah, so we ended up taking this loss. But yeah, it was an avoidable loss. Could have just decided to end it for the day, since we're so close to 12 p.m. But yeah, we learn every day, and that was it. So I'm sure I must have showed you guys enough examples on how this strategy works. It's just a break, retest, and conviction strategy. If you guys are finding it hard to draw it manually, which I feel like you shouldn't have any issues with, you can just get the indicator, which I have created already. Get the indicator, it's going to draw out everything for you guys. You can see right here, we have the break, retest. It's going to tell you when to go to the 1 minute time frame, and then take your trade. Like, it's going to really tell you. The only thing I've not really implemented into this indicator is the fair value gaps, and I'm going to work in that very soon. Right there, you can see again, break, retest, go to the 1 minute time frame, take your trade. break, bro, break, retest, go to the 1 minute time frame, take your trade. All these levels, you really don't need them, except maybe you lost or you missed out on the first entry. And yeah, so that'll be it for today. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.